Why do you keep telling yourself that being a good guy is enough, when every woman you want walks right past you for someone else? Why do you cling to that comforting lie while the evidence of your loneliness, the stark reality of your empty bed, screams that you're on the wrong path? You watch her light up for the man who challenges her, the man who doesn't ask for permission, and you tell yourself she's just broken, that she doesn't know what's good for her. You retreat into your moral superiority, convinced that one day the world will wake up and reward your niceness. Let me shatter that illusion for you right now. She doesn't owe you her attraction just because you're nice. Nature doesn't reward nice. It rewards strength, competence, and value. Period. The universe is not a kindergarten classroom where you get a gold star for participation. It's a ruthless ecosystem of cause and effect. And your good guy strategy is causing the effect you hate most, being invisible. In this video, I'm not going to give you a list of superficial tricks to stop being nice. I'm going to expose the brutal scientific reason why your good guy strategy is a biological dead end, and what you must become instead to command the respect and attraction you think you deserve. Most men tragically misunderstand what this is all about. They think being a good guy is a virtue. It's not. It's a strategy. And it's a failed one. The good guy isn't actually good. He's a man operating on a hidden contract. He performs acts of kindness, not out of genuine altruism, but with the unspoken expectation of receiving affection, validation, or sex in return. It's a transaction disguised as virtue, and women, with their finely tuned social and biological radar, can smell the desperation behind this covert contract from a mile away. True goodness, true virtue, comes from a place of strength. It's a choice made by a man who has the power to be otherwise. Your niceness is not a choice. It's a default setting born from a fear of confrontation, a fear of rejection, a fear of not being liked. It is the absence of a spine, not the presence of character. I saw this play out perfectly, not with a woman, but in a multi-million-dollar negotiation years ago. We were trying to acquire a smaller tech firm. My team had a young executive, a classic good guy. He was brilliant, but pathologically agreeable. He'd fetch coffee, he'd laugh at the other side's bad jokes, he'd concede minor points just to keep the atmosphere pleasant. He thought he was building rapport. He thought his niceness was a strategic asset. On the other side of the table was a grizzled veteran, a shark who could smell blood in the water. He saw my executive's agreeableness not as kindness, but as weakness. He started pushing, making more and more unreasonable demands, because he knew my guy wouldn't push back. I had to step in. I walked into the room, listened for 2 minutes, closed my portfolio, and stood up. I looked at the shark in the eye and said, "This is no longer a serious conversation. The price just went up 10%. Call us when you're ready to be professional." My good guy executive was horrified. He thought I'd blown the deal. 2 days of agonizing silence passed. Then they called. They accepted our original terms without the 10% increase, but with a newfound respect. They respected the strength, not the niceness. Attraction, whether in business or in romance, operates on the exact same principle. It doesn't respond to supplication. It responds to strength. Your niceness is a plea. Her biology is searching for a statement. The greatest, most catastrophic mistake you are making is believing that attraction can be negotiated. You operate under the delusion that it's a logical process, that if you accumulate enough nice points, you can eventually redeem them for a relationship. You listen to all her problems with other men. You're her rock, her shoulder to cry on. You help her move apartments. You fix her computer. You're always available at a moment's notice with a reassuring text. You are building a case, presenting evidence to the court of her heart, trying to convince the jury of one that you are the logical choice. But you've fundamentally misunderstood the courtroom. You're in the wrong building entirely. Attraction isn't a decision made in the prefrontal cortex, the seat of logic and reason. It's a verdict handed down from the primal ancient reptilian brain. It is a visceral, biological, and overwhelmingly emotional response, and it has no concern for your spreadsheet of good deeds. For millions of years, a woman's biology has been honed by the brutal realities of evolution to answer one ruthless question when she looks at a man. Does his presence increase the odds of my survival and the survival of my potential offspring? That's the brutal science of it. Sperm is cheap and plentiful. Eggs are biologically expensive and limited. This biological reality means she is, by nature's design, the gatekeeper. Her instincts, her attractions, are the filtering mechanism to ensure she selects the best possible genetic and protective partner. When you exhibit good guy behaviors, constant availability, a desperate need for her approval, a lack of boundaries, an unwillingness to challenge or disagree with her, what signals are you sending to that ancient biological operating system? You are not signaling strong protector. You are not signaling capable leader. You are not signaling high-status male with options. You are signaling subordinate. You are signaling eager-to-please supplicant. You are signaling safe, but uninspiring. Your very niceness, the strategy you believe makes you worthy, is what disqualifies you in her primal court. It's a paradox that fries the modern man's brain. You are trying to use the language of logic and fairness to communicate with a system that only understands the language of power, value, and survival. It's like trying to run complex software on a calculator. Let's bring in the neuroscience. When a woman interacts with a man who is unpredictable, challenging, and has a strong sense of his own purpose, a man who is not easily won over, her brain chemistry lights up. The uncertainty of his validation triggers a dopamine response. Dopamine is the molecule of motivation and reward. It's what makes you crave something. The chase, the challenge, the possibility of winning his approval creates a potent neurochemical cocktail that is often mistaken for, and indeed becomes, intense attraction. The good guy, on the other hand, offers a steady, predictable drip of validation. You're always there, always complimentary, always agreeable. There is no uncertainty, no challenge. You give away the validation for free. From a neurological perspective, you are boring. You are a safe, low-yield government bond in a world where her biology is wired to crave the thrill of a high-risk, high-reward venture. This is why you see her complaining about the so-called arsehole who leaves her on read, who is unpredictable, who clearly prioritizes his own life over her, yet she remains utterly captivated by him. He is a puzzle her brain is desperately trying to solve, and the dopamine hits from his intermittent validation are more addictive than the constant cloying sweetness you provide. Let me paint you a picture you know all too well. It's the negative example, and I want you to look closely to see if you recognize yourself. There's a woman you're interested in. You're in her orbit, firmly planted in what she calls the friend zone, a term that should be renamed the unpaid emotional labor zone. She calls you to complain about the man she's actually sleeping with. He's confident, a little arrogant, and he doesn't treat her with the reverence you do. You listen patiently, you offer sage advice, you tell her she deserves better. And inside, a small, hopeful part of you thinks, now she'll see it. She'll see that I'm the one who truly cares. She'll finally choose me. You are the mechanic, dutifully fixing the car so she can go on a road trip with another man. You are the emotional janitor, cleaning up the mess left by the man who actually creates the emotional highs and lows that she, on a primal level, craves. You become a utility, useful, reliable, and completely devoid of sexual tension. Your perpetual niceness places you in the category of a brother or a girlfriend. You have signaled through your actions that you are safe, that you pose no sexual threat or challenge, and she has responded by placing you exactly where your behavior told her you belong. You then get bitter. You complain that women only want jerks, that they don't appreciate a good man. But the brutal truth is, she didn't reject you for being a good man. She was never attracted to you because you acted like a weak man, and you used niceness as a shield to hide your lack of courage. The courage to state your intentions, the courage to risk rejection, the courage to be a man who has his own direction, rather than one who simply waits for hers. So we have dismantled the illusion. We have burned down the faulty structure of the good guy mindset. Now, from the ashes, we build. The solution is not to become an asshole. That's the infantile response of a man who still doesn't understand the underlying principle. An asshole is just the other side of the same needy coin. His behavior is still a reaction to women, a desperate attempt to get a response. The solution is to stop trying to be a good guy and to start the arduous, lifelong work of becoming a high-value man, a genuinely good man. A good man acts from a place of internal strength and authentic virtue. A good guy acts from a place of external weakness and transactional neediness. The shift is not in your actions, but in the source of those actions. It's a fundamental shift in your identity. This new identity, the identity of a high-value man, rests upon 3 unbreakable pillars. If you build these into the foundation of your character, your problems with being the good guy who finishes last will not just be solved. They will become utterly irrelevant. The 3 pillars are: 1. Your unapologetic purpose. 2. Your enforced boundaries. 3. Your emotional self-sufficiency. Let's break them down. Pillar number 1. Your unapologetic purpose. This is the bedrock. This is the sun around which your entire solar system, including women, revolves. A man with a purpose is a man with a direction. He is on a mission. This is not a hobby, like playing video games. It's not just your job, which you do to pay the bills. Your mission is the grand project of your life. It's the business you're building, the body you're sculpting, the skill you're mastering, the change you're trying to effect in the world. It is the thing that you would do even if you were guaranteed to fail. It is the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning with a fire in your gut. Why is this so critical? Because a man on his purpose is inherently non-needy. His validation, his sense of worth, comes from the act of pursuing his mission, from the progress he makes, from the man he becomes in the struggle. A woman's attention is a welcome addition to his life, but it is not the center of it. He cannot be thrown off his course by a text message left unanswered, or a date that gets cancelled. His emotional state is anchored to something far larger and more stable than the whims of another person. When I was in my late 20s, I poured every ounce of my being into my first company. I worked 18-hour days. I was obsessed. The woman I was dating at the time complained that I didn't have enough time for her. My good guy instinct was to apologize, to scale back, to reassure her that she was my priority. But I knew that would be a lie. My mission was my priority. I told her calmly and without anger, "This company is what I'm building. It is my focus. I want you in my life, but I will not sacrifice this mission. You can either be a part of this journey with me, or you can find someone with more time on his hands." It was the biggest risk I'd ever taken in a relationship. She left, and for a week it was hell. But then a profound sense of freedom washed over me. I was completely aligned with my purpose. About a month later, she called back. The respect in her voice was different. My unwavering commitment to my own path was more attractive than all the placating and apologizing in the world could ever have been. Your practical application is this. Tomorrow morning, before you look at your phone, before you let the world's demands rush in, take 10 minutes. Write down the one thing that, if you made progress on it every single day, would make you genuinely proud of yourself in a year. That is the seed of your purpose. Water it every single day, even if it's just for 30 minutes. That focus will change your entire energetic signature. Pillar number 2, your enforced boundaries. If your purpose is your kingdom, your boundaries are the walls that protect it. Boundaries are the silent statement of your self-worth. They are the rules of engagement for how people are allowed to treat you, your time, and your energy. The good guy has no boundaries. He is a nation with open borders, and he is constantly being plundered. He says yes when he means no. He lets her cancel dates at the last minute. He engages in endless, pointless text conversations that go nowhere. He allows himself to be her emotional dumping ground. He does all of this because he is terrified that if he sets a boundary, she will leave. And here is the brutal truth. She might. But the woman who leaves because you have self-respect is not the woman you want. The woman of quality, the woman you truly desire, will not only respect your boundaries, she will be intensely attracted to them. Boundaries signal that you are a man of high value. It implies that your time is scarce, your energy is protected, and you are not afraid of loss. This is the very definition of a prize. Years ago, I started seeing a woman who was intelligent, beautiful, but chronically late. The first time, she was 15 minutes late, and I let it slide. The second time, she was 25 minutes late. When she arrived with a casual apology, I didn't make a scene. I simply said, "I'm glad you made it. I have to leave in 20 minutes. We had a brief, pleasant coffee, and when the 20 minutes were up, I stood up, paid the bill, and said it was good to see her. I didn't lecture her. I simply demonstrated, through my actions, that my time had a limit. The next time we were supposed to meet, she was 10 minutes early. She had received the message. My boundary wasn't a punishment. It was a standard. Your practical application. The very next time a woman flakes on you with a low-effort excuse, do not respond with the pathetic, "Oh, that's okay. No worries. We can do it another time." Your response should be silence, or, at most, a simple, "Let me know when you figure out your schedule." Then you disappear. You go back to your purpose. You create a vacuum. By refusing to chase, by demonstrating that your life moves forward with or without her, you force her to confront your value. Pillar number 3, your emotional self-sufficiency. This is the final and perhaps most difficult pillar to build. It is the art of sourcing your validation from within. The good guy is an emotional vampire. He looks to women to make him feel good about himself. He needs her compliments to feel handsome, her approval to feel confident, her presence to feel complete. This neediness is the most powerful attraction killer in the known universe. It reeks of desperation. It communicates to her on a primal level that you are a void, a black hole of need, and her instincts will tell her to run for the hills, lest she be consumed by it. An emotionally self-sufficient man, by contrast, is a mountain. He is the source of his own emotional weather. His happiness, his confidence, his sense of well-being are generated internally. He cultivates this through his actions, by keeping the promises he makes to himself, by achieving goals he sets for himself, by living in accordance with his own values. He treats external validation like a dessert. It's nice when it's there, but he doesn't need it for sustenance. His main course is his own self-respect. There was a period in my life after a major business failure where my self-esteem was at absolute zero. I felt like a fraud. My first instinct was to seek comfort, to find a woman to tell me I was still okay. It was the classic good guy response. Seek external validation to patch an internal wound. But I knew that would be a temporary fix. Instead, I made a commitment. For 6 months, I would not date. I would not even try. I poured all that energy inward. I started a brutal fitness regimen. I read a book a week. I took a course on a skill I had always wanted to learn. I rebuilt myself, brick by painful brick, from the inside out. By the end of those 6 months, the need for external validation had largely vanished. I knew my own worth because I had just spent half a year building it with my own 2 hands. And a funny thing happened. The moment I stopped needing it, the attention from women became overwhelming. They can sense a man who is whole on his own. It's the rarest and most attractive quality there is. Your practical application for this is to begin a practice of what I call internal validation training. Every night before you sleep, write down 3 things you did that day that you are proud of. Not things that other people praised you for, but things that you did in alignment with the man you want to be. Did you go to the gym when you didn't feel like it? Did you speak up in a meeting? Did you work on your purpose? You are training your brain to source its good feelings from your own actions, not from the reactions of others. You are becoming your own source. Now, I want you to project yourself into the future. Let's look at the two paths that diverge from this moment right now. First, let's walk down the path of inaction. You listen to all of this, you nod your head, maybe you even feel a momentary spark of inspiration, but you do nothing. You continue to be the good guy. You continue to operate on that covert contract, trading niceness for a chance at affection. What does your life look like in 10 years? I can tell you exactly. You'll be in your late 30s or 40s, sitting alone at a wedding. It's the wedding of the woman you spent years pining for, the one you were the perfect friend to. You're watching her dance with her new husband, a man who isn't necessarily better than you, but who had the one thing you lacked, a spine. He wasn't afraid to risk her rejection, to state his intentions to lead. And as you watch them, a cold, bitter wave of regret will wash over you. It will be the soul-crushing realization that you finished last, not because you were too good, but because you weren't courageous enough. You'll still be in that same job you tolerate, living a life of quiet desperation, wondering what could have been if you had just dared to become the man you were meant to be. That is the pain scenario, and it is the default future for most men. But there is another path. It's the harder path. It's the path of action. You decide today that you are done. You start building your purpose. You start saying no. You start enforcing your boundaries. You start finding your validation in the mirror, not on your phone screen. What does that future look like in 10 years? You wake up in a life that you have consciously and deliberately built. You are not reacting, you are creating. The woman next to you is not someone you settled for, but a partner you chose, who chose you back because she was drawn to your strength, your direction, your wholeness. Money is no longer a source of anxiety, but a tool you use to build your empire and create freedom. You look at your reflection and see a man you deeply respect, a man who is not a good guy, but a good man, a man whose presence commands respect without him having to say a word. You don't hope for options, you have them. You don't chase, you attract. This isn't a fantasy. This is the logical, inevitable consequence of applying the correct principles. So let's be brutally clear. Let's bring it all home. Women don't reject good guys. They are repulsed by weak men, who disguise their weakness as goodness. Stop trading kindness for affection as if it's a currency. It's not. Start building a life so compelling, so centered on your own mission, that your presence, your time, and your attention become the prize. Be a man of genuine virtue, which is strength tempered with kindness, not a man of transaction, which is neediness disguised as kindness. Stop chasing butterflies. Build a magnificent garden, and the butterflies will come. Your purpose is the garden, your boundaries are the fence, your self-respect is the sun that makes it all grow. The rest, I promise you, will take care of itself. This is not a game. This is the only life you have. Do not waste it being a supporting character in someone else's story. I have given you the map. I've shown you where the treasure is and where the pitfalls are. But you, and only you, must walk the path. I want you to go to the comments right now and make a declaration, a commitment to yourself. I want you to write, "My virtue is my strength." No questions, no discussion. Just that statement. A line in the sand. It's a signal to yourself that the era of the good guy is over and the era of the good man has begun. If you are serious about this journey, if you are truly ready to stop finishing last and start building a life on your own terms, then subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications. The lessons I share here are not for boys who want quick fixes. They are for men who are ready to do the hard work of building an empire, starting with the one inside themselves.